The 2020 NASCAR season has officially come and gone, and with it, it's been one roller coaster of a year. A worldwide pandemic led to a majority of this year's races happening without fans in attendance. The driver who won the most races was unable to win or even contend for the championship. One driver left an on-track impact for the sport so big that it caused divide between fans online while also welcoming in one of sport's most legendary figures into the world of NASCAR. And on top of all of that, the sport's most popular driver, Chase Elliott, capped off a 5-win season by winning his first career Cup Series championship. But even with all of this, 2020 will still be remembered for losing two NASCAR teams who were kind of key figures in the late 2000s and 2010s. One of these teams is the Levine family racing team, owned primarily by Texas businessman Bob Levine. This one is especially sad to see, as I felt like this team really earned a special place in everyone's hearts, especially after the 2019 Bristol night race, which they were only around 8 laps away from winning. And it's especially sad for me, as Bob was our first guest to join us during Season 3 of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, where he shared stories of the team's rise, and when asked what his proudest moment as a car owner was, he had this to say.
Probably our progression, particularly in the last 4 years when we went full time. And we really have two fellas that started originally in 2011 with us when we were running part-time and ran egg races. And I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of the people. So kind of narrowing it down, the people that we've attracted and acquired just by running better. Because as you can imagine, if you're working NASCAR and want to work on a cup car or a cup team, you want to work for a good competitive one. I mean, it's no fun coming home every weekend and finishing last.
So with that being said, that was certainly a different Bob Levine that we spoke to back in February of 2020. COVID-19 was not a factor. He was feeling very optimistic with a young Joe Gibbs prodigy driving the 95 car, and when I saw him at Daytona, he was very happy and proud to talk to everyone as we anticipated the new season. But now, towards the end of the season, once it was clear that the 95 car would not return in 2021, things seemed to change. He began to appear more critical of NASCAR. He wasn't afraid to answer the Twitter questions that other team owners would shy away from. But what happened to change Levine's outlook on a sport that brought his family so much unity and success? Was COVID-19 the only contributor, or did he feel as though the sport turned his back on a small team like his when times got rough? These are questions that we may just never know. But what we do know is what happened during the team's rise up until their recent fall. We have to go back to 2011. What a time to be alive. Charlie Sheen went crazy, the royal wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton happened, and Oprah hosted the last episode of her famed network television show. And we saw the beginnings of the partnership of Tyler, Texas construction executive Bob Levine and NASCAR driver Lance Fenton to form a new racing team, LFR, Levine Fenton Racing, with plans to compete on a limited time basis between the Cup Series and Truck Series, with David Starr all set to drive 6 times in the Cup Series in car number 95, and Fenton would be driving 3 times in the Truck Series. The company was based in Levine's hometown of Tyler, Texas, but race operations were handled in their race shop in Concord, North Carolina. Rather appropriately, the Texas-based team made their debut at Texas Motor Speedway with David Starr, who was also making his Cup Series debut in April of 2011. It wouldn't go as they had planned, with Starr finishing 38th after an accident, but the team would attempt the All-Star Challenge and then competed in the Coke 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and having not made a start in the Truck Series though, it was actually announced that at this time that Bob Levine and his wife Sharon Levine had acquired Lance Fenton's share in a team, and he would no longer be associated with the program. With Fenton gone, they'd still keep the name LFR, but they'd continue on as Levine Family Racing. Later on, the team would fail to qualify for the inaugural Cup Series race at Kentucky Speedway, but they would race in the 2011 night race at Bristol Motor Speedway, where David Starr would record a career-best 27th place finish. All in all, they had made 4 Cup Series starts, lost their initial partner, scrapped their Truck Series program, and they failed to qualify for 4 races. But the team had made its beginnings in 2011. 2012 came along, and at this point, David Starr went on to find new opportunities, while Levine Family Racing gave a 15-race opportunity for a guy looking to rebuild his career in Scott Speed. Needless to say, Speed's time with Team Red Bull was nothing to brag about, and while this team was still learning, it was beneficial to have Speed's experience having raced for such a high-profile team to help them grow. Now, while that team was forced to start and park in a vast majority of races that they entered in 2012, they did get to compete in the road course races, with Speed finishing 25th at Sonoma and 17th at Watkins Glen. This partnership with Speed would extend into 2013, with it being planned to run in 28 of the 36 races that season, and while Speed was able to record the team's best finish of 9th place at the Spring Talladega race, there was growing tension between Speed and the team due to continued start and park attempts throughout the 2013 season, which would lead to Speed's departure following the race at Atlanta after his 14th finish of 40th or worse in his 30 race weekends with the team. The team would start and park 8 more races after this, with Reed Sorensen making 6 starts and Scott Riggs and Blake Cook each making 1 start in 2013. In 2014, things got a little better as the Michael McDowell era began, and with this, they intended to run in 20 races in 2014, and with K-Love Radio and other sponsors of McDowell's coming on board in 95, it allowed Levine's team to finally start competing in full races with a new small alliance from Team Penske. 2014 would see a little increase in performance with an 18th place run at Bristol, as well as a new team best of 7th place in the July Daytona race. 2015 would see the return of McDowell and his sponsors along with their alliance of Team Penske, and they once again planned for 20 races that season, which honestly fielded similar results with the exception of a few races where they failed to qualify due to their position in owners' points and qualifying sessions being rained out. Now, unfortunately, also in 2015, the team suffered a big loss as a big part of their facility in Concord, North Carolina actually burned down, and unfortunately they were forced to finish out the rest of the season on the Team Penske campus in their old sports car building. However, 2016, things changed, and as it brought in some more modern times, if you will, with Joe Falk becoming an investor in the team who brought in a much needed charter for the 95 team, meaning that they could now run full time, and with a switch to Chevrolet and an alliance of Richard Childress Racing, it brought in some new faces and very temporarily a new car. While Michael McDowell raced primarily in the 95 in the majority of the races in 2016, Ty Dillon would also make 7 starts in the 95 car. In addition, 2 times at Daytona and at Homestead, Michael McDowell would race in the 59 car, which is just an invert of their number 95, which, fun fact, Bob Levine did tell us that, yes indeed, it was based on Lightning McQueen that they chose that number, so fun fact for you right there. But with Ty Dillon going full-time in the 13 in 2017, it meant that Michael McDowell was back in a 95 car in 2017. This time, he would drive full-time for the first time ever with the team. However, Michael McDowell wouldn't put up any significant results during the 2017 season, and it came to terms with both parties that he would leave the team following 2017. But 2018 is where things start to get a little tricky. Shortly after it was learned that Casey Kane was not returning to Hendrick Motorsports following 2017, it was announced that Casey would be driving the 95 Camaro for the team with backing from partners within the construction industry, which was huge for the team. I mean, they just picked up a high caliber driver with many wins in the top series. I mean, this was seen as a big potential for either Casey to make or break the rest of his career, and maybe this team could take a huge leap in their direction, but I can't say it turned out all that good. In August 2018, we found out that Casey Kane would be stepping away from NASCAR full-time following the season. But in September of 2018, after suffering from heat exhaustion in the Southern 500 at Darlington, Kane was set to sit out the 2018 Brickyard 400, and Regan Smith stepped in to drive in his place. As it would turn out, Kane would not return to the driver's seat at all the rest of that season, with the 2018 Southern 500 being his final race in NASCAR. Aside from a 4th place finish at Daytona by Kane, as well as a 10th place at Talladega by Regan Smith, who finished out the season in the 95 car, nothing really came from the team that really seemed any different than years prior, in a year where people had such high hopes going in. But while 2018 may have been wrote off, 2019 offered some more hope for the team. Upon the closure of Furniture Row Racing, Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing were in need of a new partner, which presented a perfect opportunity for Levine to sign on, switching the team to Toyota, with Matt DiBenedetto driving the 95 car that season. And this combination provided some great memories and one of the best seasons the team ever had. In 2019, Matt DiBenedetto and the 95 team scored 7 top 10s, with 3 being top 5s, and he would lead for 152 laps, including 93 at the Bristol night race, which he would sadly lose in the closing laps, finishing second to Denny Hamlin, which would still be the closest the team would ever come to a victory. Now, despite the success of DiBenedetto, it was announced in September of 2019 that DiBenedetto would not return to the team in 2020, as Christopher Bell would be promoted from Joe Gibbs' Xfinity program to LFR's 95 team. The results would prove well, with Bell fielding similar results to Matt DiBenedetto the year prior, scoring 7 top 10s and 2 top 5s, including a 3rd place finish in one of the final races of 2020 at Texas Motor Speedway, as Kyle Busch, their Toyota partner, went on to win his one and only race of 2020. Now, this was especially nice to see Bell have such a good run because, well, in their last race at their home track of Texas Motor Speedway, where it all started back in 2011, they ran a very special paint scheme paying tribute to their very first car. And it was just a good symbolic moment of seeing just how far that team had come to where they were, but unfortunately, it was all over. Now, while Bell certainly did well for the team in 2020, some online have speculated that the decision to ditch DiBenedetto was more of a Gibbs and Toyota decision rather than LFR decision, and perhaps this could have also fueled Levine's decision to leave the sport, as it was no longer his business. Well, nevertheless, a lot of factors in 2020 could quite possibly have led to the fall of Levine Family Racing, and it is sad that we lost them this year, as we were honestly just starting to see their true peak and potential of their rise to success in NASCAR. It's sad that they never got to taste victory when they were oh so very close, but with one door closing, others are now open for 2021. With Levine Family Racing gone, Toyota's extension team now goes to the upstart 2311 Racing, co-owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, with Bubba Wallace piloting the number 23 Toyota Camry, and with that move, Eric Jones leaves the Toyota camp to drive the King's iconic number 43 car, and Christopher Bell goes to drive Joe Gibbs' number 20 Toyota Camry. Now that right there is the rise and unfortunate fast fall of Leavine Family Racing. If you're new to DannyBTalks, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more great videos. There are also several more of the rise and fall videos on my channel that you should check out if you have not done so already. And please be sure to drop your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments section, and perhaps leave a suggestion for another rise and fall subject for the future. Anyways, I'm Danny B, and thanks for watching today's video. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.